A final comment regarding food, which as we defined is taking substances that are external to us and using them to provide form and function to our organism so that we can continue to live. And the final aspect of this concept of food is energy. And if we can think of all consumption, all eating, as being energy exchange. And so we look at where we are. We're sitting on a large globe that's revolving around itself and then circulating around a large thermonuclear device called the sun. So here we are on this planet, and where is all of the energy coming from that is exchanged between all the organisms on the planet, and it all comes from the sun. Now, the only organisms capable of using that energy directly are plants. In fact, that's the way we define plants, is they're able to engage in photosynthesis. Plants are able to engage in photosynthesis, which means that they're able to take the energy from the sun and use that to power the biochemical reactions necessary to produce food. For them, they're producing substance for themselves, their structure, and other organisms eat them, so they're producing food. Okay, so this energy exchange starts with the sun, it goes to the plants. Then the creatures that eat the plants are now getting that energy. The creatures that eat those creatures are now getting that energy. And then the creatures that eat those creatures are now getting that energy. So if we look at that exchange, it goes from sun to plants to plant eaters to animal eaters. Now, the animals that eat plants are referred to as vegetarians, plant eaters. Then there are animals that eat the animals that eat plants, and they're referred to as carnivores. And these animals usually eat that animal alive because they want to get the essence of that animal, which is its internal organs and its pulsating warm blood. And this is a carnivore, is they love to and they need to, and they are instinctually committed to eating the animal alive and as it's dying. Now, and you notice that the animals that eat animals do not eat animals that eat animals. Okay? Plant eaters or vegetarians are the food source for carnivores. Okay? Second order carnivorism, that is a carnivore eating another carnivore, happens only in times of extreme. It's usually second, third, and fourth choice of any animal, even scavengers, which are hyenas and jackals. They eat more like we do. They like to run around and eat corpses or the remains of animals. It's kind of what we do. We're not really, we wouldn't even consider ourselves carnivores since we don't usually rip chickens' heads off and eat them alive. We eat their carcasses. So next, what creatures eat the carnivores? And we know that those are bacteria and funguses, and ultimately these are the organisms that actually recycle that flesh back into soil. And that soil is used by plants, and there is the cycle. So the cycle is energy exchange. And an interesting thing to note about this cycle of energy exchange is that the sun's been around the longest. Okay? If we look at the sun and the earth, and then we look at the creatures. And we start out with plants. Plants are the longest lived. We see redwoods living 2,000 years. They're the strongest. They're powerful. How many men would it take to push over a redwood tree? Quite a lot. Okay? Next are the creatures, the plant eaters, that eat the plants. They are the largest. Elephants, rhinos, hippos, they're certainly the strongest. And they live the longest. Then comes the carnivores who eat the vegetarians. They are now next in line. They live shorter than the plant eaters, and they're not as strong. And then we finally get down to bacteria, who have a new generation every hour. Okay, so I just wanted to let you think in terms of globally or holistically that really what we do when we eat is we are exchanging energy. And this will be a good time for all of us to reflect on what happens when we take fire and we expose, I don't know, let's say a potato. You got a potato that's full of energy, and in fact, if you plug a potato clock into it, which are two prongs that go into the potato, you'll see that the clock works. And the reason the clock works is because there's a bioelectric charge in there that's allowing the electricity to flow. If you bake that potato and then you plug in that potato clock, it just won't work because you remove the energy with fire. So something to think of before you stick anything in the oven.